Welcome back to a new NBA season. The 2022-2023 season is finally here after all the anticipation this offseason. We finally got some real basketball, some actual basketball, some games that actually matter, and it's going to be a fun ride. So for today's episode, I want to give my thoughts on the Sixers and Celtics game that occurred. First things first, I didn't like how Doc was playing Joel. It seemed like he was getting him a lot of harder opportunities. I feel like the team didn't put Joel in positions where they got him some easy looks. And of course, Joel got to the free throw line a lot, but it seemed like he's been on the ground more times than the amount of shots he took. It seemed like every play he's on the ground or he's getting doubled. And credit to the Boston defense for, really doubling down on Embiid and not letting him go single coverage against everybody, even though he was getting a lot of people in foul trouble. And Joel, second MVP last year, a pure dominant force in the paint. But I feel like it has to be something where Doc puts Joel in positions to score easier, quicker, and not have him being doubled too much where he has to work harder for his buckets. Put him in spots where, okay, we get you a quick post up or a quick jumper, quick pick and pop, quick pick and roll. Set a screen for him to get an open look. Let him work off the offensive boards, things like that. Things to get him going. And not just having him do 1,000 post-ups or 1,000, high post catches and have him try to beat you off the dribble. But, like I said, credit to the Boston defense for basically doing a good job on the Sixers, even though a lot of them did have good games, but they was getting to the free throw line. Boston's looking really good. Tatum and Brown ended up getting 35 apiece, looking like the finals team from last year that surged in the late season. But the main point of this podcast I want to touch on is James Harden. James Harden is looking like the old James Harden. And whatever we want to make it, as far as what's been happening for the last few years. Injuries, overweight, whatever the case may be with him. Figuring out his role in this offensive scheme with different teams. And I think it's a combination of all three. Because I feel like he was trying to figure out how to play with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and who's, two great scorers of our generation. And Harden, for predominantly his NBA career, has had the ball in his hands 90% of the time, especially in Houston. Been ball dominant, making every single play, every single possession. And then going to Philly, where he had to learn to play with Embiid, Maxey, and Tobias at the halfway point of the season, where the Sixers are already rolling and already had a chemistry and a rhythm to them, as opposed to, it would have been different if Ben Simmons was playing half the season and was the ball handler as he always is, and then you swap him out with James Harden. So it would be this. It would be like, all right, James is already taken Ben's spot, the chemistry, and all those things, as opposed to James is coming in and he's disrupting what they already had during the season. So with Maxey and Embiid being the primary ball handlers, Harden came in, didn't want to step on anybody's toes probably, and probably still try to figure out how he fits within this offense without breaking the offense. Because, Harden is an isolation player. He's a person who likes to have the ball in his hands a lot, takes a lot of shots, things like that create the offense. So it's a little different. But James Harden has an argument of being top 5 shooting guards of all time. Think about it. Because he has got MVP. He has got a 6th Man of the Year, which a lot of people forgot about. He has been to the NBA Finals. He's almost averaged a triple-double multiple years. Dropped 60-point triple-doubles, 50-point triple-doubles. Ran off a bunch of 30-point games, 40-point games. Had the highest points per game in the last 30 years, 20 years, besides Kobe. James Harden averaged 37 points one year. 37 points. And I get it. A lot of people don't like James Harden because of his play style, how he baits fouls and gets to the free throw line, whatever the case may be. To me, I think that's the mark of a basketball genius, because you're putting the opposing defense in a position where they have no other choice but to foul you because they have no other way of guarding you. And he revolutionized the game. He revolutionized the way the game is played with the step back. He also revolutionized the way how players take fouls, how they draw fouls. He's changed how players do the jumper and then they shoot and they need a landing spot, because James Harden really did that. And yes, it started with Reggie Miller, but James Harden took it to a whole new level. The Euro step, he's changed the traveling rule. Players are now allowed to take 3 steps for going to the basket. James Harden has changed the game at the end of the day. And a lot of people don't want to admit that, but we have to look at everything that he has done, his impact, his influence, what he has accomplished. This is a basketball savant. This is a basketball purist. This is a guy who can score in so many ways, and we just take for granted how good of an offensive player James Harden really is, because he has led the league in assists. He has led the league in scoring. How many players have really done that throughout their careers? I could give you a couple. LeBron, Russell Westbrook. That says a lot. Those are 2, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot more. But you see where I'm going with this. There's a lot of players who haven't done it, especially in today's era. So, with that being said, Harden is starting to be underappreciated. And I feel like he's going to have a huge bounce back year this season. I feel like he's going to really show people that he still has a lot in the tank. He still is a basketball, upper echelon player. And I feel like the Sixers, despite their loss tonight, I feel like they are going to really take a new leap and really make a deep run in the playoffs. Will they win the championship? I hope so, because I like them. I like the team. I like how they structured this team. I personally feel like I would make a couple of changes. I would start Thibault over PJ Tucker, and I would give Montrezl Harrell a lot more minutes that he's played tonight, and I would put the ball more in Maxi's hands as a playmaker, and I would run more pick and rolls for Joel to get him going. But what do I know? I'm not a basketball coach. I'm not an NBA coach. So whatever Doc is doing, I hope it works. I hope the best works out for that team, because I'm rooting for them. But this is going to be a fun season. I'm eager to see where this season is going to go. I'm eager to see how far Philadelphia is going to go as far as this season goes. And let's enjoy the ride.